Is D5 the best rendering software out right now? Hey everyone, Tony from TN3D Studio and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the main features and improvements in D5 2.3. Now the title for best rendering software is a deeper topic and conversation. But D5 is definitely up there with the top rendering softwares out right now. The last few updates have introduced tons of creative features and this new version is no different. So in this video, I'll be going over the main features and improvements of D5 2.3. Now before we continue, if you could gently give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and hit that bell notification. This helps with the algorithm, the growth of the channel, and so you don't miss the next time we drop a new video. So let's get on to feature number 1. One very common mistake you will see in 3D modeling and rendering is sharp edges throughout your model. And as you know, nothing in the real world is 100% sharp. So adding a slight bevel and round edge makes a huge difference when adding realism to your scene, especially on those close-up shots. So in this version of D5, you can now add round edges to all of your materials. Let's take a look at how this works. So hit I on your keyboard to bring up the eyedropper, and as an example, I'll select my black marble material. Under the Inspectors tab, scroll all the way to the bottom, you will see two new settings, one of which is round corner. So click to enable this feature, and you'll be able to adjust the radius of the round profile. And this feature does a great job in adding the round profile. Whether you're using small or large values, the round profile looks pretty realistic in most of your objects. So here's a little before and after. Again, this is a very nice feature, so it's great that you can now do this in D5 so you don't have to in your 3D model. Color bleeding is a global illumination effect where light bounces color off one surface to another, and as a result, other colors can appear a bit unnatural and inaccurate. If you take a look at this example, I changed the diffuse color of my floor material to green, and right now the light bounces off the floor and it carries the green tint to the other surfaces. So my wall and ceiling have this green influence over their colors. And this of course happens in the real world, but in rendering there are cases where colors need to be as accurate as their color values. So that's where this feature is very useful. When you enable force color bleeding on your material, you override that diffuse color to gray, which helps to resolve that issue. And as you can see, that change updates in real time. So here's the before and after. The grass material has also been optimized for better rendering results. So I'm going to select my material and select grass from the templates. And right away you will see a few grass type presets which you can choose from. And these are great depending on the scenario. You also have more creative control over the material by adjusting some of the parameters such as its height, density, and trim. You hover over this question mark, you will get a nice little pro tip, which suggests that you use this grass material to cover large landscapes. And for more close-up detail shots, use the brush tool to spread grass materials from the asset library. In this version, you also have more control over the depth of field. If you check the camera settings and turn depth of field on, you can use the set focus tool to set the distance. As an alternative, you can disable follow focus and manually set the distance value. As always, you can't go wrong with more creative control. Speaking of materials and simplifying its workflow, this feature is a time saver. Not only does it load all of your textures at once, but it also loads them in the correct material slot. That's right, this feature does all the work for you. So select the supposed material, click on this icon for batch import, find and select all of your textures and hit open. Since D5 supports metallic and roughness workflow, it recognizes the names of the texture and loads them exactly where they need to be. As always, you might need to make a few adjustments to the settings, which is always expected, but this takes all the guesswork of importing the textures one by one. And just like that, you've created a brand new material ready to render. Who would have thought? Next, we have two new styles, one of which is Ambient Occlusion. This mode enhances the soft shadows in your scene caused by ambient and indirect light, and ultimately it adds another layer of realism to your renders. In D5 2.3, this style can be rendered straight out of your viewport, as well as a render channel, which works well as a post-production effect. If you go under the effects and scroll down to your styles, you can turn on Ambient Occlusion. This parameter allows you to adjust the radius of the occlusion, so the higher the value, the stronger the soft shadows. The second style is Outline Mode, which allows you to add contours around the objects in your scene and gives you that cartoon-like render style. In its settings, you can adjust the line color, transparency, and change the width of the lines by distance as well as the background. So if you're going for a very specific style of rendering, the outline style is something you may consider. You can also merge both of these styles together by activating the ambient occlusion and adding the outline mode on top. This will allow you to achieve a specific type of render that's not necessarily photorealistic. Next, we have Parallax surfaces. Now this feature alone is a game changer, and I think I've also seen it in Unreal Engine. And to keep it simple, these are surfaces with a parallax effect. Now this effect gives the illusion of a fully built interior space that's projected on a single surface. If we take a look at our example, from this perspective, you see a fully built interior. However, if you move around to the side, you will see that it's a single surface. So with D5 2.3, you get a total of 45 interior parallax assets for both commercial and residential spaces. And on this model, I've used one of those assets to populate the room on the second floor. As for the settings, you can adjust the lighting and its intensity, as well as the position of certain elements. And as you've probably seen in the trailer video, this feature really helps to bring realism to another level and really comes in handy when it comes to populating your model. Next, we have thickness for single-sided transparent material. As you know, any glass material needs a thickness to properly render its refraction. As an example, I have this glass railing, which is a single-sided material in SketchUp. And in D5, you can tell that the refractions are not rendered correctly. So I'm going to select this material, and under the Inspectors tab, you will find the thickness parameter. And by turning it on, you're fixing the refraction and simulating a double-sided glass. So here's the before and after. The entire weather system has also been optimized with a couple more settings so you can create the best environment for your model. And one of those new settings is the sun radius, which helps you to soften the shadows caused by the sun. If you check under Geo and Sky, click here to expand these settings, and you will find the sun radius parameter. Lower values create sharper shadows, and higher values will create softer shadows. You will also notice a huge improvement in the cloud and fog effects with new settings like thickness, density, and height. And with a combination of these parameters, you can create different types of low and high level clouds. And also for the fog effects, it's being optimized with new settings that will allow you to create some stunning visuals. So be sure you're subscribed so you can catch the next tutorial we cover all of these features. D5 2.3 has a total of 53 updates, giving us brand new features, improvements in the user experience, and the library with incredible 3D assets. So I advise you to check the links in the description for a full list of these features and improvements. And if you haven't tried D5 yet, hopefully this video has helped you to download the free version and give it a try for yourself. Links also in the description. And that's going to be all for this video. Hopefully this content was helpful. Have you tried D5 2.3? And if so, is it the best rendering software? Leave those comments in the section below. As always, I'll see you guys next time.